Have you either lodged your tax return late or haven't lodged it at all and are stressing about it? Well, today I'm going to explain to you what actually happens here in Australia if you don't lodge your tax return on time. Hello everyone, my name is Rooshock, and today I'm going to be talking to you about late tax returns, overdue tax returns, anyone that hasn't lodged a tax return on time. So I'm going to be going through what actually happens, when the due dates are, and can the ATO apply fines or interest, or are you going to get sent to jail? It's one of those common things that people actually get way more stressed about this than they need to. So I've had people come to me and stressing out because they think they're late and they're not late, or they are actually late and think they're going to be sent off to jail the next day. That's not going to happen. Or I've even had people that have had multiple years that they've just let go, and because they're 1 year late, they think, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I become 2 or 3 or 4 years late, and get so stressed and then are lodging 10 returns at once. So I want to alleviate some of that stress and go through what the best practices are and what will actually happen. So to start with, you need to understand, well, what is the actual due date for a tax return? So if you're lodging yourself, you'll see here that the due date is the 31st of October. And that's for anyone that's lodging themselves through the ATO system, or it is also for people that have had non-lodgements of previous years. So what that means, if you're late on previous years, the ATO are likely going to give you this due date of 31st of October. So you need to get the previous year's lodged and the current year lodged by that due date. Now there are some other due dates here, as you'll see, for bigger sized entities, but the other main due date for everyone to know is the 15th of May. And this is for individuals that are lodging through a tax agent typically. So you've got until the 15th of May, so you've still got plenty of time. Even if you haven't lodged the 2021 year yet, you've still got another nearly 5 months up your sleeve. So those are the two key dates really that most people need to pay attention to, either 31st of October if you lodge yourself, or 15th of May if you lodge through an agent. Now, so what happens if you go past those dates? Well, your return becomes overdue. And my number one advice to anyone that approaches me and says that, I say, let's get the return done as soon as possible. Because the quicker you can get it lodged, a lot of people are actually getting refunds, so that's gonna sort a lot of your issues. Or if it is a payment, at least you know the amount and you can start to deal with that via either paying it off in full or putting a payment plan in place. And at the end of the day, the ATO much prefer you to have your lodgements up to date and a payment plan in place than you not just lodging at all. Now, so what happens if it is late? Can the ATO apply a fine or a penalty? Well, yes, they can. So as you'll see here, that for every 28 days or part thereof that the return is overdue, they can apply one penalty unit. So if I jump over here, you'll see that a penalty unit at the moment is $222. So they can apply a $222 fine for each 28 days you're over, up to a maximum of 5 penalty units. So they're going to keep adding these on, keep adding these on. So if you're lodging 6 months later, you're going to get 5 lots of that $222 fine. Now, it does change slightly for medium and larger entities, but that's probably not most people watching this channel. But as you can see, if you are 6 months late, you know you're going to get a fine that's going to be over $1,000. So you really want to weigh up, is it really worth delaying lodging to cop a $1,000 fine, when if you just lodged on time, you wouldn't have got that? Something I will note from my history of lodging returns is that the ATO aren't consistent in applying these fines. I've seen plenty of people that have lodged late and they don't get fined. I've seen others that have lodged 1 day late and have got a fine. So I'd say it is a little bit inconsistent, but to completely alleviate and make sure you don't get a fine, just lodge on time. Now, the other thing the ATO can hit you with is general interest charges. So this would be where you owe the ATO money and then they apply interest to that, daily compounded, based on how long it has been since that debt should have been due. So if you lodge your return late and you owe them money, they are going to not only potentially chase that money for you, fine you, as well as then apply an interest charge on top of that. So you do run the risk that you're not only going to have to pay for that debt, but you're also paying fines and interest. So this is something you definitely want to avoid. If you know you're going to owe money, you're much better off to lodge on time and then put a payment plan in place, rather than just delay the lodgement, then lodge and then pay, because the ATO are going to go, well, you were late then. If you put a payment plan in place, at least you know that if there is going to be interest charges, they can work that into the payment plan, and you're in a much better position because the ATO are going to go, yep, your lodgement history is good, your payment plan is in place, we're happy with that. Therefore, they're going to be more lenient on you, or more likely to deal with you in the future if you need further payment plans. Now, there may be situations where you have a genuine reason why you lodged late, or why a payment wasn't made on time, and you can potentially apply for remissions of fines and interest. You need to have a genuine reason, and you're going to be dealing with the ATO, so they're going to have heard a lot of excuses over the time So it can't be that typical, my dog ate my tax return. You're going to need to have a genuine reason why you didn't lodge on time. Now you can apply for these remissions yourself, or if you're using an agent, they may be able to apply on your behalf. And if you've got that genuine reason, the ATO are normally pretty good at remitting a fine or an interest charge, and that can hopefully alleviate some of the stress of something else that's going on in your life. I think in summary, that shows that it is best just to lodge on time. If you know that you're going to owe money or you're not really sure, go and seek help from an agent or go and do it yourself. Do your research, get your return lodged, and then you can put that payment plan in place. You're not going to get hit with fines. You're not going to get hit with interest. But if you are late, go and get it done. Deal with it, get it sorted, make sure you know where you're at. You may be getting a refund and get that money back into your account, or if you owe money, you can put a plan in place so you can get that paid off and get your tax obligations up to date. It'll alleviate a lot of stress. It'll make life much easier for you if you're going for bank loans in the future, etc. And I think it is just the way to do it, and it just takes a lot of that pain away. I hope that video has been helpful. Make sure you go and check out some of the other tax tip videos I've got coming up next, and I'll talk to you again soon.